would like them to know that I do my best to decide the cases on the facts and what the law says I should do with those facts. I'm not going to decide it on emotional issues. I'm not going to decide it on, well, I like him and I don't like her, or vice versa. I know people feel very, very vulnerable in here, and they're always concerned that somebody's going to get the upper hand. But what we try to do, myself and the magistrates, is give the parties a level playing field, allow them to present their evidence, and then decide the case on the evidence and how the law applies to that evidence, those facts. The preferential way to approach court is obviously to be represented by counsel. Because even if you decide to represent yourself, even though you're not a lawyer, the courts have all said, the higher courts, the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court have all said, you are held to the same standards. So you are presumed to know the rules of evidence, you are presumed to understand the rules of civil procedure, and you're held to the same standard as an attorney would be held to in presenting that case. But having said that, I understand that sometimes it's just not feasible financially. There's some limited support available. You can try to see if you qualify through legal aid. They have pretty stringent requirements before they'll step in and represent someone, just because their funding is limited and they can't represent everyone who may need a lawyer. You can also try your local bar association. Sometimes they also have programs where people have agreed to take cases on a reduced fee or even a no-fee basis, but that's just through the bar association. The court's not going to appoint an attorney for you in divorce cases. It's a civil matter, so it's not like you're entitled to representation by counsel. You have to either make arrangements to have an attorney represent you, or you have to do it yourself if you just can't afford to do that. This is a problem in court, and it's not just with litigants. Sometimes it's with the attorneys. I have some attorneys that get very emotional in the hearing, and I stop the hearing and I say, Mr. Attorney or Ms. Attorney, your behavior is not helpful. It's not evidence. There's no one here that you're impressing. All you're doing is aggravating me, and that should not be your goal in this process. So I will stop the hearing and talk with people about that. We have seen that with litigants as well. Sometimes there's a power struggle between the two parties, and so I'll catch them mouthing words back to each other, or rolling their eyes, or all kinds of inappropriate behavior. And what I tell them is, you don't want your 12-year-old doing that when you're trying to tell them something. I certainly don't want it out of you too. So knock it off is what I typically will tell them. It's important that you put a proper presentation forth, because one of the issues in any trial is credibility. And if a party comes in dressed respectfully, and it doesn't mean they have to have on a suit and tie or an expensive suit or expensive clothes, anything like that, but just respectfully. Clean clothes, dress shoes, or not flip-flops, let's put it that way. It puts a better image forward of that person when we're judging credibility. Well, I've been in this line of work for 29 years. I've worked as a magistrate in domestic relations court. I have represented parties in domestic relations court in presenting cases before magistrates and judges. And now I am the judge in domestic relations court. So I have seen it from all angles. I understand that you are probably not at your best from an emotional standpoint when you're going through the divorce, and I won't hold that against you. But I'm going to have to make a decision in your case. And so you need to make sure that you do what you can to get the evidence presented fairly and in a manner that supports your case. But don't try to hide things. Don't deny things that you know are true. Sometimes admitting, yes, I do have that fault, goes a lot further than trying to minimize it or say, no, I don't.